Hello, second time's a charm. I forgot to press record the first time round. You are listening to the Mets in the UK podcast, your home for Mets content in the UK. You can catch us every Tuesday on Spotify, YouTube, and all good podcast hosts. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, and X at Mets in the UK, or use the hashtag MITUK to get involved. So, joined this evening by Toria and Tracey. Evening, ladies. How are we doing, Tracey?
Hydrated. We'll go with that.
Hydrated in this hot weather, yes. Tor, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. Happy days all round, obviously.
Obviously.
Are we going to be happy? Are we going to be positive?
We're going to try.
We'll try.
I mean, look, always loyal. Gotta do it.
Always optimistic.
Always.
Okay. We will try our best to keep this positive and optimistic for the next half an hour or so. So, another week. Mets came back from 2 games down to split the 4-game series with the Braves. Soto and Mauricio getting some home runs. At the end of the Braves series, the Mets were 12-12 in June with 109 runs scored and allowed, which is quite an achievement to be that precise. Completely split down the middle.
Yeah.
That takes some doing. Mets then went on to get swept by the Pirates, outscored 30-4 over the series. Soto and Torrens actually managing to hit a home run. There was a players' meeting held after Game 2. Nimmo says that Alonso and Lindor were among the 6 or 7 players that spoke. We've also heard that apparently Jeff McNeil said some stuff as well. Summed up end of the week with a quote from Steve Cohen, who said, "Tough stretch, no sugarcoating it. I didn't see this coming. I'm as frustrated as everybody else. We will get through this period. Our injured pitching will come back over the next few weeks. It is unlikely the teams hitting with runners in scoring position will continue at this weak pace. Keep the faith." Interesting quote from our owner there. Tracey, what's your thoughts on the games over the last week, or what Steve's had to say on Twitter?
The games are. I'm not going to talk about the games over the last week or so because there's not been very many highlights. There've been a few, but not many. But I am going to keep the faith, like Uncle Steve says. I've been a Mets fan for 20 years now. I've seen the highs, the lows, everything in between. Welcome to baseball.
Yeah, I think that's well put. Following on from that, before we go to the night out, I'm going to say the only positive from my week was seeing you two in person. Mets in the UK in-person meets. Always better than digital over distance. Yes. So it was lovely to see you both at the weekend, watch the game. Shout out to John as well for hosting and doing a great job with that. That was about it for my highlight from the week.
We may have got Tom a little drunk. Sorry, not sorry.
Just a little bit. It's a family-friendly show, so we will leave it there. On Steve's quote, I'm not gonna blindly praise him, but I always appreciate his honesty on matters like this. He could be very cloak and dagger about it, but he's not. He is very honest and upfront. Obviously, I've said this before, is that the players are not trying to lose. They're not trying to play badly. They just are. And I do actually believe Steve Cohen when he says, "I didn't see this coming." I do believe that they thought they were going to be fine, especially with the start of the season they had, with the pitching that they had. Runners in scoring position, we know, has been an issue for a number of years. It's not a new issue. But it's, he's frustrated. We're all frustrated. It's been a very challenging week. There's been lots of discourse on this. If you're sat there at home and you're angry, you disagree with Steve Cohen, or you're frustrated with the team, we're not telling you how to fan. Support the team in whatever way you see fit. I just think that, for me personally, a little bit of a level head on this, in that they're not deliberately trying to do this. They're not trying to throw the season. They are doing their best. But like I've said before, losing breeds more losing in the same way that winning breeds more winning. And I think this is something that they will snap out of. There's still a lot of baseball left to go. But, you know, absolutely piling on their back is not going to help that mental issue of being in this negative funk. It is the 1st of July today, so hopefully the June swoon, as the Mets have often had, is now behind us. We can move on the new month, fresh start.
July high.
Yes,
July.
Let's get that one going. It's the July high. So, Night Owl, how has the baseball been for you over the last week? You are our optimist, so please be optimistic.
I have actually managed to find a few positives amongst many losses. I mean, we all know I love some small ball. We had some small ball in the Atlanta series, so there was, you know, we got a couple of runners in scoring position. I'm going to put it out, like, leaving runners stranded is my joint most hated thing in the whole of sport. So I like to see us get them in every so often. Montez's debut before the bullpen just disintegrated was a highlight. And again, you know, there's a bit of recency bias. We'll come on to his follow-up, but his debut was great. I fell asleep during that game in like the 6th, and we looked really comfortable. And then I woke up a little bit later and was like, what happened? Okay, I'm going to try and go back to sleep now in case like the reverse happens. And we did have a bit of a rally. Jeff's catch in game 3 against Atlanta, was that not outstanding? How is that not a highlight? That was a 2-run homer all day off at Azuna. And following game 4, there was a shutout win and we were in first place at that point. Let's not forget that, right? Within this week, we held first place in the division. Like, seriously. And during that game, we had that excellent outing from Austin Warren, who had to come in unexpectedly with the injury to Canning, which I'll mention in a moment. And also positives this week. Manaea is doing well on his comeback. There you go. Well done, Tom. Tom showing off his Manaea jersey. And speaking of jerseys, we had Jesse Winker making a rehab appearance in a Jessie Cowgirl jersey. I mean, how is that not a highlight of the week? It was incredible. Of course, there have been plenty of lowlights. I mean, 2 and 4 is terrible. There's no way around it. Canning's injury was heartbreaking. I was genuinely gutted for him. Absolutely gutted for him, gutted for us. It's really not what we need. And the decision to bring what was I like on when they brought Blackburn back out after that rain delay. I was not
what we all like.
Exactly. I was just now apparently they'd set a cutoff for him coming back out of 6 o'clock, and it started at 6 o'clock. So had it gone to like 6:05, they wouldn't have brought him out, and they'd have gone to the bullpen. Any other time you want a rain delay to be quicker. At that time, I wish it might have been a few minutes longer. So that was a bit dodgy. But you know, they had the players meeting. By all accounts, it wasn't a prearranged thing. It was quite ad hoc. They were all just sat around and just started opening up and talking. And it does sound it wasn't just a couple of them standing up like we've had previously. It was a whole number of them. Even apparently Soto spoke up as well. So it sounds like it wasn't an individual thing; it was a collective thing, and they're acknowledging that they are still good. And aside from put the Pirate series aside, they have been in games. They haven't been, just throwing it away. And I've said this a number of times. They haven't just forgotten how to play ball overnight. That's not how it works. So it was an acknowledgement that they are good. They're just going through it right now, and they're all going through the same thing, and they're all going to get out of it together. So, yes, of course, there are plenty of lows, but we held first place in the division within this week.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the thing to focus on. Given how bad we've been in the month of June, we're still within shot of that first place.
2 games behind.
Exactly.
It's just crazy when you think how many games we've lost over this month. Like, to still be within reach of that is, it says how strong we were at the start of the season and how good we can be when all cylinders are firing.
I've got a little bit more to get into that later when we get, because it's kind of related to a couple of other questions that we've got. So
yeah, absolutely. But I think, there have been some positives, like you say. I think all of us over here in the UK could hear CJ's cheering when McNeil made the catch.
Absolutely.
There have been some good points, but a few individual good points have not really helped what has been a difficult week. We have struggled to find the positives. Obviously, Toria is able to find the positives, like she is in everything. But yeah, a challenging week, and hopefully the end of the negativity around the team and on social media.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying everything's roses. It's not. It's there's no getting around it. It was shocking, and especially that Pirate series. I mean, that was just beyond painful. Especially the manner of it. What a blowout it was. But the world isn't ending. We are still a good baseball team.
Yes.
We'll leave the negativity there. Catching up with the news from the last week, the reliever merry-go-round continues. We saw Jonathan Pintaro selected to the Major League roster. Quite wholesome. He called his parents to give them the good news once he'd been called up. Brandon Waddell was also recalled from AAA Syracuse. Jose Castillo and Richard Lovelady were designated for assignment. Austin Warren was then called up. Jonathan Pintaro was then sent down. As Tor mentioned previously, Griffin Canning ruptured his Achilles. He went straight to the 60-day IL. No messing around here. He was just straight on the biggest IL there is. That injury saw a flurry of moves where we saw Jared Young and Austin Warren optioned to AAA. Mark Vientos, Blade Tidwell were called back up. Colin Poche was selected. Richard Lovelady elected free agency instead of being outrighted to AAA. And Jose Azocar signed to a minor league contract, having been previously DFA'd. We then waited 24 hours and found that Richard Lovelady had re-signed a new contract with the Mets. Poche was DFA'd. The merry-go-round continues. As Tor mentioned, Jesse Winker did his rehab assignment on Sunday in Brooklyn. Congratulations to the Cyclones, as modeled by Tracey there. The Cyclones are the first team to 50 wins in all of the minor leagues. So very
well done, guys.
Them. Speaking of positives from the minor leagues, Jonah Tong has now been selected for the All-Star Futures game, joining Carson Benj, who was previously selected. Keeping up with the minors, because that's where all the positivity is at the moment, AJ Ewing has stolen 50 bases this season. This is the third most of any player in all of the minor leagues. What's even more impressive is that AJ Ewing's 50 stolen bases is more than 5 separate teams have got as a collective. So really impressive from him. AJ Ewing is currently with the Cyclones, having started the season at St. Lucie Mets. So he's having a good season by all accounts. And last but not least, don't forget to vote in the second round of All-Star voting. Pete, Francisco, and Juan all put forward, all needing your votes. It's still not done yet. This closes at Wednesday noon Eastern time, which is 5 o'clock our time. So you've still got today and tomorrow to get those votes in. So lots of comings and goings, people appearing, pitching, disappearing again. Tor, thoughts on the news other than Canning's ruptured Achilles?
Again, we've mentioned it a number of times. It shows the depth that we have, which is really encouraging. Some of these guys, you don't expect a great deal from them, but we saw Warren come up, do a really good job. Tidwell, quite know what you're going to get with him. It's it's good that we're able to do it. The biggest thing for me, as I already mentioned, was the rehabs of Mania and Winker. I really want Winker back. The other thing to note is Alvey seems to be doing all right down there as well at the moment. So he seems to be working on his batting stance, and that seems to be paying dividends. So that's good. And yeah, the note from Steve, which I didn't touch on before, again, it's that's gonna stick out there. That's been shared like a gazillion times. People are gonna have their opinions about it. I think, like you said, it's great that he's open and upfront about it, and he is on the same page as us. And it kind of indicates that they're already thinking about what they're going to do over the next couple of weeks. So I think we might have more news to come.
Yeah, certainly going to have more news to come. Worth mentioning as well that Winker and Mania are due to have another rehab outing tomorrow. So watch this space for that. We will, of course, mention that in next week's show. Tracey, what's your thoughts on the last week?
In amongst the merry-go-round, did you see Jared Young pitch?
No.
Bless him. He pitched. No, he did really well actually. He pitched 0.1 of an inning and didn't give up any runs. Was actually quite decent.
So I think when Travis came into pitch on Sunday night, I was like, yeah, that's my cue to go.
Yeah. But he actually did quite well. Wasn't throwing too slowly compared to a lot of position players that pitch. So that was interesting. Yeah, it's been great to see our minors boys doing what they need to do. Like you say, got to look at the positives. And we haven't sold the farm. We have not sold the farm, so they're still in our system. Under previous ownership, that isn't something that would have happened. We would have sold everything for a couple of rentals.
Yeah.
And you've got to remember, guys are going to get better. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it's not going to be that long. And you've got All-Star break coming up that will give people a rest as well. And then you've got the David Wright number retirement, which will give the whole team a lift, I think.
Absolutely.
So all is not lost. Keep the faith.
Yes. You've got to believe, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so as always, shout out to our regular listeners, followers, commenters, likers, subscribers. We see you all. We appreciate every one of you. As we do every week, we asked your questions. You didn't disappoint, as is often the case. I'm going to start off with Lee, who didn't really give us a question, that leads into some of the other things. So Lee said it's not a question, but he's unhappy with the pitching. The roster needs a shake-up. He's unhappy with the team meeting. Lee was just not a happy bunny with how the Mets have been doing over the last week. Also echoed by Kralk1238, who just simply said, WTF is going on. I think that's fair. Linked into this, Craig asked a question I think we can answer. Other than pitching, where do we need to strengthen most urgently, and what is your realistic dream signing? Tracey.
I'm not sure about dream signing, but I think the point where we need most support at the moment is probably third base, because that's been a bit of a merry-go-round in itself. Particularly after we sent down Acuna because he wasn't getting enough at bats and enough time fielding the position and things like that. And he was also having a little flirt on second as well. Everything else I think is fixable as guys get healthier, both physically and mentally. And yeah, that's my thoughts.
Okay. yeah, third base is an interesting one for me. I think in that, Ventus is now back up. Mauricio is playing well. Both of them can play third at a push with Mauricio. For me, I know we need to strengthen there. I'm not disagreeing with that. But I don't think that's something you are probably going to fix at the trade deadline with a rental. Yes, it's in an area that needs addressing, but I don't think it's something that you should throw away the farm for. I don't think it's going to cost us any games, particularly unless, the right deal is out there for the right player. I just wouldn't go throwing everything trying to save that position. For me, it's a tough one because you could argue we need to strengthen in centre field, but Jeff made a good catch. Taylor's very good. And Winker's coming back on his rehab, so he's not far off. I don't really know whether again, like third base, I don't know whether you would need to necessarily go out and force the hand unless the right player is there at the right. And I think this is where the Mets are, is that they're not so far behind that they will take anyone. I think they need to weigh up, is this person actually going to improve what we already have? And I'm not sure, based on the teams that are struggling and looking likely to do deals as we get near that trade deadline, there's no one that particularly stands out that makes me think, oh, we've got to go and get them for an infield or outfield position. To answer Craig's other bit of the question, I know we need pitching. You've alluded to that in the question. My realistic dream signing is Sandy Alcantara. I think he's, on his day, an amazing pitcher. He's had a few good starts lately. I know he's had a bit of a turbulent time earlier in the season. He's had injuries in the past. But I think the Marlins, although they've gone on quite a good run lately, I think they might be willing to do a deal there. Even though he is a rental, he is someone that I would like them to go after. I think he would solve our starting pitching issues, where he is a guy that can go deep into games. He's got good stuff, and we need that kind of person in our rotation. He is an upgrade on pretty much most of what we have already. So I think he does tick that box. He's better than a Blackburn. He's better than a McGill. He's better than probably Holmes, I would say, on his day. So for me, my realistic dream signing would be Alcantara. Tor, what about you?
Yeah, I'd like to see us sign a short-term third baseman whilst our boys are kind of getting their act together. We're at a position where Beatty's been doing great. Don't get me wrong, he's improved an awful lot. Vientos been up and down when he's not there. When it's not Beatty at the moment, it's a bit of a concern. I wouldn't mind. It's never going to happen because he's contracted to the hilt and has spent his whole career in Cleveland. But Jose Ramirez from Cleveland, switch hitter, really good defensively, but he's under contract until 2029 or something stupid. And he's older. Don't get me wrong, but I'm thinking more of that experience there just to get us through. I also wouldn't mind us looking at DH alongside Winker when Winker comes back, because Winker is likely to DH. Vientos, I like DHing as well. But again, I wouldn't mind if we're talking about strengthening. That's where there's potentially a weakness as well. And I'm with you on the pitching as well, of course, especially given the injuries that we have and we keep getting. And, we've got to get through the second half of the season. A solid starting pitcher. But a good, experienced, solid third baseman for me. I mean, maybe, we can get David to come and play on his retirement night. Maybe he can just sign for a day. He could probably do a job for one game.
Yes.
I think I'd like to see us look there. But we're not. position by position, we're not terrible. We're not bad. When our boys are on form and when we're at full strength, we're a good team. But they're not always on form and we're not always at full strength. That's the problem. And when we're not at full strength, we don't necessarily have enough depth for me.
Yeah, I think that's all fair. Let's know down in the comments below. What positions do we need to strengthen most urgently? Who would your realistic dream signing be? Let us know down below. Answer Craig's question. Kind of linked to this, we've talked about the downs of the last week. David asked us, if we don't get it together, do we still make the playoffs? Tracey?
I think we do. We started so well at the start of the season. Yeah. And we have come back from much worse before. Look at last season. And I think that as the team start getting better, both physically and mentally, I think the All-Star break is going to do them the world of good. They can go away, reset with their families, and come back and be better, stronger, healthier versions of themselves. And yes, we can come back. Absolutely.
Okay. Before I go to Tor, I'm just going to point out we've still got 77 games left to play.
Exactly.
We are currently 48 and 37 at the time of recording, which puts us 11 wins over 500. So, yeah, just to back that up with a few stats. Tor, what do you think?
Yeah, so I'm kind of ignoring the whole, if we don't at the start of that question, because we are going to do something. But June, we went 12 and 15. We've done that 3 times now in the last 10 years. One of those years was 2016. Do you want to have a guess when the other year was?
86.
In the last 10 years.
Oh, in the last 10 years. Hold on, 2025. 2015.
Yep. 2015. So 2015, 2016, and this year we went 12 and 15 in the month of June. This time last year, we were at 40 and 41. We were 13 and a half games behind Philly and 8 games behind Atlanta, 2 games out of wild card. This year, we're at 48 and 37, only 2 games behind Philly, a game and a half up on wild card. And this time in 2015, we were at 40 and 38. So yes, we had a winning record at that point, but nowhere near what we have now. We are in such a stronger position because we had such a great start. I mean, in last year, we did go 16 and 8 in June, if you remember, of course, because it all turned around in the London series, but we had a terrible May, 9 and 19 in May last year. So we are in such a much stronger position than we have been in, the more recent deemed successful years. And this is all before trade deadline. So we've still got opportunity to do the things that we need to do. There's no way they're not going to be all in. So they'll do what they need to do. I don't think, we might not necessarily get another Cespedes, but we don't need that, because the other thing that I have to mention, Juan Soto in June. We may have had a terrible month overall for our record, but in June, Soto was batting .322, turning 29 hits, 11 home runs, 20 RBI, 25 runs scored. And not only that, amongst all of that, he had his 27th multi-home run game, which overtook Jimmy Fox as the most before age 27.
Nice.
I mean,
27 until October.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, because October's the best month.
No, I think you'll find that's November, but yeah.
So look, we're going to be fine. I was having this argument over the weekend with my friend, bless him, our John, and I keep saying we are the best team in the division. I believe that genuinely. yes, we've been playing terribly, but on paper and on overall performances, we are, and I am not buying the whole we only beat up on poor teams. Nope. Go look at it. That's not the case. Certainly not when we were facing them. And he's saying you can't possibly be when you're giving away teams. Wait and see how it shakes out after 162. We've got a long way to go. Long way to go. So it's far from all is lost. Far from all is lost.
Okay. To answer David's question, I'm going to go back to the stats just for a second. We have won so far this year 56% of our games. Mm-hmm. Assuming that we continue that for the rest of the season, winning 56% of your games takes you to 91 wins. Last season, the Mets made the playoffs with 89 wins. So on that fact alone, just on the stats, I'm going to say yes. Even if we copy and paste what's happened so far to the second half of the season, I still think we're going to be fine. So there you go, David. What do you know? What do you think? Let us know down in the comments below. Do you agree with what we've said? Do you disagree? What's your take? Answer David's question. Will we still make the playoffs? One last question, which came from CJ. Did Jo mess with her plates again? Jo's not with us tonight because she's got other plans, but she has informed us reliably that her plates haven't moved. So the losses are not her fault. Plates are still there. So there you go, CJ. Okay, that wraps up your questions from last week. If you've got questions, let us know. We will answer them in next week's show. We are also planning on later this year going live on some of our episodes, so you can ask us live in the show and we'll see how that goes.
Let us know what you think about that prospect.
Yeah, watch this space, coming soon to a YouTube near you. Right, let's also look ahead to the upcoming week. We have got 6 games to look forward to. 3 at home against the Brewers. Holmes, Tidwell and Peterson are our starters for that. We've then got 3 game Subway Series, all of which are UK-friendly starts. Unfortunately, Blackburn and Montas are the starters for the first 2 games. Just going to say that.
Don't like you now.
Jo's predictions. She says we're going to lose the Brewers series 2-1. We'll wake up against the Yankees with a 2-1 series win. So Jo is going 3-3 for the next week. Tracey, what's your take?
I think the Brewers series is going to be the harder out of the 2. Brewers are in exactly the same position that we are. They are 2 behind the leaders. They're Chicago Cubs in the Central. They have, however, won their last 8 games out of 10. So I think we are going to lose that 2-1. And Yankees, we are going to beat 2-1.
3-3 for Tracey as well.
Yeah.
Tor?
I'm with the girls. I think the Brewers series is going to be tough. Holmes has still been pretty solid, so we're going to need some depth out of him. There's no doubt about that. So I think that will set the tone for the series. I'm glad that it's him looking first up. I mentioned earlier, you never know what you're going to get with Tidwell at the moment. So we hopefully he'll be all right. And Peterson's had a dodgy couple of outings. I'm a bit concerned that maybe his hip's giving him a bit of grief again, but hopefully not, and hopefully it's just a blip and we get our solid David back. So yeah, I think it's going to be tricky, but we're always up for the Subway Series. We always want to beat the Yankees, so I'll go 3-3. And if they want to lose the game on Friday, it's Blackburn, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to miss Bob. I'm at gig Friday evening, so I'll only be able to have it on my phone. I won't be able to watch it all properly, so they can go ahead and.
So she says this 100%. She will be watching on her phone.
Yes.
who are in the
And
group.
texting us at the same time.
Absolutely. It's going to happen. It always does. I think the Mets are going to come out with a statement win tonight.
Oh,
I think that's going to happen. They're going to, first game back at home, silence all the doubters, come out with a statement win. I think they might then lose the next two and lose the Brewers series. That wouldn't surprise me. Like Tor said, I'm a bit worried about David Peterson as well. I can't help but wonder whether him doing the complete game, whether that's maybe done something to upset him. I'm not sure. Who knows?
maybe.
Hopefully I'm wrong. I'm usually wrong on this stuff. Like, I make terrible predictions. So, please never bet on my predictions because, gamble responsibly and all that. Yankee series, I think we're going to lose that as well. So I'm going to go 2-4 over the next week.
Another painful one.
Just because I don't think the slump is going to be that quick to be fixed. I think they will fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there will be a couple of statement wins, but it's going to take time to turn this ship around. And I don't think it's going to be as quick as what people might think.
Okay.
Like you both said, the Brewers is going to be tough. They are a tough team. They are well built, and we know why, David Stearns.
Yeah.
The Yankees is always difficult because there is that added pressure. So I'd love to be wrong. Please, I'm hoping this is another one of my terrible, terrible predictions, but I'm going 2-4, unfortunately, for the next week. Hey, let us know. Let us know down in the comments. What do you think? So that brings the episode to a close. There's been no breaking news, but obviously, as is always the case with this, I will press recording, and within 10 minutes, something big will happen. You're welcome.
Yeah, major signing. You heard it here first.
Yeah, or something. 50 different relievers coming and going. That's the other one. Anyway, on that note, thank you to Toria and Tracey for joining this evening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell all your friends so we can bring this amazing content to more people across Europe, the UK, and beyond. Why not? All that leaves us to say is let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.